Okay, Sagittarius, this is going to be part 2 of your love reading for December 2021. If you're watching this, you're on the Patreon, so thank you so much for patronizing us at Run and Gun Tarot. This is Peter over at Run and Gun Tarot. I saw the Six of Pentacles flash at the bottom. This is, I think, really kind of, again, emphasis on not being result oriented as much as, you know, kind of being pleasantly surprised at the kind of feedback in the vein of, you know, when the moment strikes or when spirit strikes or something like that. You know, you get a wild hair up your ass and you decide to, you know, mop the floors like I do, and you turn on the lights and it brightens up the room, and it's like, you know, everything is kind of being fed off of your energy, you know, whether you're like flipping the switch and turning the lights on, you know, it's just as easy as that. If you think about it, we're like, you're literally, we talked about like lighting up the universe, and it's like, you're not alone in this. Like, man has, and woman and humanity has, you know, harnessed electricity, and you know, the light is literally here to literally and proverbially light up the darkness, which is to see and to create. And you know, that effect is so kind of incredible and amazing, and you have that ability at your disposal, and you're not, and if you know, if you aren't, I behoove you that you don't take that lightly. You know what I'm saying? Like, really understand the impact and the significance of, you know, lighting up your space and lighting yourself and seeing that kind of feedback, you know. So very cool, very cool. Again, that Six of Pentacles was like, you know, you being able to offer something to others, and or by proxy or by like trickle down effect, you know, or even if it's just kind of like you offering it to yourself in a way. Because remember, the Six of Pentacles is someone giving something to someone in need. It's the young emperor energy giving pentacles to, or morsels or something weighed out to someone in poverty or someone in need. So it's almost as if like that theory of like the higher self bestowing upon something in need or someone in need this fucking abundance. And it's kind of, you know, we spoke a lot about being like self-generating with the Scorpio reading. Feel free to watch that. You know, we're all influenced by all the signs and all the houses and all the planets, so every sign applies to you. But feel free to go, you know, reach out to that reading and watch it. And it's basically speaking to like, you know, self-run, self-regulated, self-generated, and really truly being in the feedback loop of like abundance. When we talk about abundance, we're not just like, oh, abundance. No, we're talking about, we spoke about like being excited and electric, and like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about like literal like electricity and light, like changing your vibe and changing your aura, and like personal momentum. And like, you know, when I did the Scorpio reading, I was like, I felt all like crummy and gruddy. So before I recorded the part 2, I like showered and put a button up on. And like, you know, when I recorded part 1 of your reading, you know, I wasn't liking, you know, my ex is moving out, so, you know, there's boxes everywhere, but like people coming in and out of the house, and it's like, it just like smells. It smells like, you know, strangers, and it's like, you know, so it's like, you know, I mopped the floors, and it just brightens up the room. And quite literally, while I was doing that, I turned on the lights. So cheers to that. But, you know, point being is that, you know, you have this kind of magnanimous like impact on yourself, on your surroundings, and a little bit goes so long. Taking ownership of your household, you know, like I realized that I was in a power dynamic where someone was so kind of brazenly 100% in that they didn't know how to work with someone else to include them in their vision of a household. They just so kind of stringently had their vision and then expected you to like clean under it. But it's like you get more bees with honey. Like you, like especially in a relationship, like you want to have that person genuinely want to be a part of you and genuinely want to help you and genuinely want to build with you. And what I found was like, you know, in myself, like I've been living here for a year. I hadn't mopped the floors or anything. But I think a lot of that was like there was someone to like rebel against as opposed to someone to create with. And you know, it was always kind of like being pulled along because the person that I was with like didn't know how to talk to me, didn't know how to speak to me, didn't know how to kind of entice or coax that, you know, from me, or give me this sense of like, hey, this is my house as well. This is my, you know, we could build together. It was always like this kind of resentment or this whatever. And that was like a poverty consciousness. And basically what I was doing is I was playing into that so much to the point where like, I wouldn't want to like clean the bathroom. I wouldn't want to like, you know, help out. I wouldn't want to do that. And it's like, now that this person is moving out, like I'm realizing like, oh, I want to do those things because those are like the best parts of me. And, you know, for some reason when that person was here, it like kind of, I think in a weird way, like it stifled like my kind of like feminine energy to want to contribute in these ways. So in a weird way, it's allowing me to kind of express what I know to kind of contribute to a household. But it's hard to do that when, you know, when the energy that you're with or that you're surrounding yourself with is like, they either like don't reflect that in you, or there's always a fight, or there's always this resentment, there's always this kind of like, it's like you're investing in like this empty ditch and there's nothing going to come from it. And so in a weird way, you know, nothing, when you're in the relationship, nothing is like, hey, let me like sweep and mop or something like that, because you're kind of in this defensive mode. And I think one of the energies that you first got was the Seven of Wands, is being in this kind of like defensive mode where somebody's like asking more and more of you, or they're picking on you, or they're picking at you, or they don't see or believe in your vision. And so what that's kind of doing is that's, you know, that really is truly kind of putting you in this like defensive posture. And they're not highlighting like the best attributes in you. And, you know, it doesn't make you want to contribute. And these are more so like unconscious energies. You know, hindsight is 20/20. But I'm realizing that like this person didn't bring out the best in me. They didn't make me want to contribute. They always kind of belittled me, and like, you know, that just didn't make me want to. They weren't able to coax out the best in me, and they had a very kind of harsh feminine energy. And so instead of kind of making a partner or an ally, they made an enemy, because, you know, they were just kind of like, it was always some sort of meltdown. It was always some sort of like anger and resentment or frustration. And it wasn't like, no, we're cool, we're calm, we're gonna sweep, we're gonna mop, and we're gonna like contribute, and we're gonna, you know. And it's a very odd thing, and I feel like, yeah, you could like wax poetics and philosophy on it, but in a weird way, it's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. But the most that I could kind of glean from it is that, like, you know, the person that I was living with, or the person that was living with me, was like so like a bull in a china shop, that like you were always kind of like trying to take care of their feelings or always trying to be concerned about what they had to do, and so really only, the only thing that you could really afford to focus on was like the big strokes as opposed to like the fine detail, because they were supposedly the female role or the feminine energy that was supposed to look at the fine detail. And they did in their own way to the extent that they understood how to do it, but it didn't allow room for you to integrate your feminine energy. And so instead of kind of harmonizing, it became like, I'm doing all this, but then all this kind of bitterness and resentment on the back end, as opposed to like truly like just having, I don't know, just truly like making room for like these energies to coexist. And instead of like allowing them to come out more, it was more so like polarizing, which I think is kind of fascinating. And it's not that like, it wasn't like this matter of like laziness or something. I think it was just more so this matter of like this illusion that someone was like filling this role already, or something to do with some like sort of like energetic integration. But I think what happens is that like if somebody's like doing something and then they're giving you kind of crap for not doing something, or it's almost like this kind of like abrasive doing something, then it doesn't make you want to like open up and contribute in a weird way. So that's kind of what I'm finding and seeing in my personal example, and I think that has something to like resonate with you. So I just thought that was interesting to mention. If you find yourself in that circumstance, look into the ways in which you can be more kind of independent in your household, and add that finer detail, so as to be able to like kind of get back to yourself. So that's what I'm being pulled to say to you, Sagittarius. So I hope that was helpful. Holler at your boy. Peace.